Hello everyone and welcome to Success with Steph Explained. Now this is a mini series where I will be breaking down a lot of different concepts, but I want to start off by breaking down different practice areas, what kind of work is typically involved in them and what kind of work trainees in particular do in those practice areas. So I'm going to be starting off with, of course, you know it, banking and debt finance, because that is where I'm currently sat as a trainee. Now, banking and debt finance is typically split up into 4 different areas. So we've got acquisition financing, loan financing, leverage financing, and asset financing. And I'm going to have a look at what all of those 4 different areas mean in just a sec. Okay, so the first type of financing that we're going to look at in this mini series is acquisition financing. And I think the easiest way to break down what acquisition financing is to have a look at an example. So the example that I want to use is Etsy getting Depop for $1.6 billion US. Now that is a great example of acquisition financing. And why is that? Because in the simplest of terms, acquisition financing is essentially just when company A gets a loan from the bank to buy company B. It's what we often see in the newspapers as some kind of leverage buyout, some kind of takeover. That is all different forms of the umbrella term acquisition financing. So how is it actually going to work in practice? What do the lawyers there actually do? And I guess most importantly, what will the trainees be doing on a deal like that? Well, let's break it down. There are 2 main documents that are going to be involved on the debt side anyway. There will obviously be other documents, but if we're looking specifically at debt financing and bank financing, there are 2 main documents that are going to be involved here. One is called the intercreditor agreement. The second one is going to be some kind of security share package, which is just going to detail what security will be given. So let's have a look at the intercreditor agreement. What is that for? Now remember, in this example, we've got Etsy buying Depop for $1.6 billion US. Generally speaking, no one bank is going to loan that much to one company for one acquisition. So what ordinarily will happen is that the company will kind of put together a proposal, and then a number of banks will kind of come forward and say that yes, they're happy to loan specific amounts with an agreed security to come with those amounts for the acquisition to go ahead. So let's say for this example, and I haven't checked this, so please, like I said, don't go and use this as an interview or anything like that. But let's say, for example, there are 5 banks who have each agreed that they're going to loan a particular amount to Etsy in order for Etsy to buy Depop. Fine. In order for that to happen, there needs to also be an intercreditor agreement, which is going to govern what the relationship will be between those banks and their priority. So what do we mean by priority? Well, this is where the security package comes in. Again, ordinarily, when you are loaning large sums of money, you're going to want some kind of, I guess, assurance or reassurance that you will receive a return on that investment. So what's that reassurance going to look like? There's no way that you can guarantee that you're going to get the money back, but you can take certain steps to ensure that even if you don't get the money back for whatever reason, you can maybe try and retrieve part of that money via some other means.
So now in our agreement, we've probably got some banks, and remember, they're the ones who are loaning the money to fund the acquisition. We've probably also got some creditors, and creditors are essentially just entities or people who the company owes money to. We've probably also got some shareholders. So shareholders are just people who own parts of the company. And we've probably also got some customers. And this is all really important because of that word in solvency. And essentially, the intercreditor agreement is just there to govern what will happen and who will be paid when in the event of a company going bankrupt.
What will the trainee be doing in this situation then? Well, if you're lucky, and also if I guess you're quite an experienced trainee, you may actually be able to have a little bit of a handle with the intercreditor agreement. Now, the reason why I say this is because it's a very, very complex agreement. Depending on how many creditors are involved, there will be a lot of layers, and you will need to ensure that the right creditor is getting the right priority at the right time. So generally, it's not going to be the trainee who drafts this, it will be the associate, but it is still important for the trainee to understand what that document does, just for knowledge purposes and for training purposes. Where the trainee might actually get involved is on the security side. Now, though the trainee again might not actually be drafting the security agreement, what the trainee will be doing is probably doing some filings at Companies House. Now, why is that? For any company that is registered in England and Wales, where there is security, it has to be registered at Companies House in order for that security to be valid, essentially. So that's actually quite an important job, because if the trainee doesn't register that security within the 21-day period from the date of creation, and that includes any weekends or any bank holidays, so you can't try and take those days off and add those in. If the trainee doesn't register that, then it means that someone else might be able to come in and take priority over that particular charge. So remember with the example that I was using where I said that the bank might, for example, take security over property. If that charge that has been created is not registered at Companies House, then someone else can come and take security over that property. And that bank is going to be pretty annoyed that that hasn't worked out for them. So that is what acquisition financing is. That is generally what is involved, and that is what a trainee is likely to do in the bank finance team where there is acquisition financing. Come back next week where I'll be breaking down what asset financing is.